kids are probably asking yourselves, hey, Matt, how can we get back on the right track?
All right, guys, so we're not living in a van down by the river, but we are definitely crawling in one with this new rock van. I was very excited about the look of this thing, but to be 100% honest, I wasn't so sure I was going to grab one just because I'm not a real big fan of the base of this, you know, the CR18, but they have really improved some stuff, and the looks of this thing, like, is so cool. It's just something different, something fun, something unique, and so I'm pretty excited about it. Can't wait to run it, so we're going to get to that in a minute. This is basically a CR18 somewhat, and I'm not a big fan of like all the Phillips screws and some of the cheaper quality look and feel to some of this. You can see the shocks in there, very toyish looking, but they have went to a portal axle that is all metal gears. It says bulletproof metal gears in the axles. I did pull the cover on the portals. They are definitely metal. Haven't checked the diff, but it says they are metal. Let's pull this body so you can see underneath. So it's just 2 pins in the rear, and then it swivels up here. It don't really stay, so you kind of have to hold it, but I like that. You know, you're not fighting more pins up front. This is a very light body. It's Lexan, but it looks really good. The bumper and mounting system up front is the bulk of your weight, so it feels like it's balanced pretty well. The weight up front is nice, actually. Battery goes in the rear. Came with this 600 7.4 LiPo, so it's nice. We got a 2S battery, and you can see it's laid out pretty well. Like, the motor is as low as you could possibly get it. I really like how that motor is mounted, and surprisingly, it's not hitting the links at all at full flex. Now, this thing don't have a ton of travel because it is really a trail vehicle, and you can see these shocks are very kind of toyish looking, but you know, it's still really cool looking, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I like that they have tried to improve on this. You know, they didn't just throw this body on it and release it with the same old electronics and axles and stuff. They have definitely improved these axles, and these electronics are good. The servo seems pretty dang stout. It doesn't have any kind of labeling on it, so I really don't know what it is, but it seems pretty strong. That's bearing down on it, and it's doing pretty well. So we'll find out when we get to crawling. This basically is like the ESC and transmitter that we have in the Power Wagon, the FCX, I believe. Maybe that's why we're not getting those with the Max Smasher now, because everybody's starting to use them and they're hard to come by. I don't know, but you can see the slow crawl is really, really good for a stock system. Like, these things are getting better and better. These stock systems are getting really good in these things, so that's really cool. I'm excited about that. These mirrors, they are plastic, but they got good flex to them, so I don't see me really breaking those. You guys know I break all of my scale accessories. The wheels are bead locks. These tires feel really good, like really good. They feel like they've got, I don't know that they have a foam in them. They are vented, but they feel good. So I think they'll do pretty dang good for a stock tire, like really good. Actually, I feel. We'll find out. But yeah, everything laid out pretty well. The drive shafts do have the metal like yoke in there, so that's good. We shouldn't have too much trouble with those. It looks like they've did a lot to kind of improve upon this thing, and that's all you can ask, you know? That's all you can ask from these companies when they come out with a new model. Don't just slap a new body on it, make improvements a little at a time. I mean, that's all we can ask for, and I'm pretty thrilled with how this thing seems. You know, obviously, I'm not a fan of Phillips head screws. I would prefer those not be there, but the links do have hex screws, hex heads, it looks like there. So, you know, just some really for like our mounts and stuff. Transmission is mounted with Phillips screws, but they're nice and flat there, so maybe we won't have too much trouble with those. We should be able to fit just a regular 1.0 wheel on here. This is a 5.0. This little tool is great. You can see I'm wearing it out, but this came in a little kit from like Walmart, and it had a bunch of different fittings and stuff, and I use it a lot. So I'm thinking like these might look really cool on there. So pretty excited to maybe slap those on. I don't know if we'll clear there. Looks like we're not going to clear the portal cover. Maybe we'll have to do another washer or two. They have some washers on it straight out of the box, looks like. If we can space it just a little bit more, we might clear those. I think the gold wheels look so cool on there. What do you guys think? Really cool. We'll try to make those work, no doubt. And they are the bead locks, so we can easily reuse these tires if they're good. We've got plenty of room there on our threads to add some washers, hopefully, to make those wheels work. So we'll definitely do that. Packaging, FairRc contacted me like shortly after I got this, and they wanted to know if everything was packaged well and how everything showed up. Apparently they have heard that some of these are just kind of flying around in the box. Mine did almost look like it had been opened. The zip ties that were supposed to be holding the truck down to the box was cut. One of these was just laying in the bottom of the box, the little hub cap covers. Luckily, it was in there. The LiPo was just floating in the air in the box. But FairRc had contacted me. They had kind of heard that from somebody else, and they were like trying to get to the bottom of it. So they were working on that. So it's really cool that, you know, they're trying to make sure everything's running smoothly with this release. And I'm excited to go crawl this. So let's get it out. I know you guys are tired of looking at it here. Just wanted to cover it real quick, and we'll get some crawling in. So I was running the course and really kind of realized the steering dual rate, which basically percentage, wasn't even up all that high. So I turned it all the way up. You can see we get just a little bit of rocking there when it maxes out that direction. But the cool thing is, watch this. There's no binding. We're maxing out right there a little bit, so should probably turn that down a hair, but no binding at all. So that's pretty dang good. Let's check the turning radius of this versus like the TRX4M just to see. All right, so we got the reigning champ of the turning radius over there hanging out, but we're gonna cut this thing hard left. And right there's where we end up. So we're gonna leave that there, cut the traxes hard left, and see what we get. A little bit tighter, you can see there. So pretty dang good turning radius on this thing though. Let's move it out of the way. I have the stick there where the left inner part of the tire was. You can see the traxes still gets it by about a truck width, but that's really pretty dang good for this thing. So I'm just gonna say flat out, I like this thing. You know, there's a few things that normally I'm very hard on. Phillips head screws, bushings throughout. You know, I'm not going to just not mention those things and act like they're not there. But I had so much fun with this. I just love how unique it is. The van is so interesting and fun to drive. Really, this is the most fun I've had driving one of these little rigs in a while. And a lot of it was just like the look of this thing. It's just something different. And I get a little deep later on. We test the waterproof. It's weird. On the box, it says waterproof electronics in one spot, and then it says water resistant in another. So I thought, like, let's just find out. But so I did quite a bit of water just running, and later we get pretty deep, and we'll see what happens. But had no trouble getting through this stuff, and it ran fine all day. So this thing, the tires, very good. I was really surprised. You know, I thought they felt like they would be good, but a lot of times stock tires, you feel them, you think they're going to be good, then you run them in conditions like this, wet, slick rock. I mean, they were wet from the time I got there till the time I left. And they pulled a lot of stuff that I really didn't think they would do. I started out kind of just trailing along very easy on it, these, you know, kind of shots. And as I went on, I was like, this thing could pull some lines. Like, I need to be trying a little bit harder stuff, you know. And so I get into some better lines as we go. But I'm thrilled with this thing. Absolutely love it. I had a blast. I packed along the Capra 18 with me again. Like, I really need to run that thing at some point. And I just set it to the side and never even touched it. I ran this, had a blast with this. I ran the Defender a little bit back to back with this just to kind of, you know, compare them in my own mind. Not really trying to do a comparison with this video. This is about the rock van. If you guys want to see this compared to the TRX 4Ms and maybe the Firehorse and some stuff like that, let me know, and I'll try to do that. But I had every bit as much fun driving this as I did the TRX 4M. It's every bit as capable. The slow crawl with the torque on this, I give the edge to this truck. Better slow crawl with better torque. The wheel speed, nowhere near what the Traxxas is stock, but the Traxxas stock, it suffers on the torque. So, you know, it's a toss-up, whichever way you want to go. But the slow crawl on this and the sound of it was better, in my opinion. This is a little quieter. And you can see here some wet conditions spinning up these rocks, and it did really well. I rolled this thing several times. You know, I didn't struggle too much getting a lot of these shots. Not as much as I kind of figured I would. But this Lexan body is not that heavy, so it helped this thing do really well. And I had no issues with it, you know, cracking or busting or anything like that. It was pretty cold out, probably in the 40s. I got my feet wet a little bit later and was not thrilled to stay a whole lot longer. But I was having so much fun with this thing. I hung out a good extra 30, 45 minutes running it after I got soaked. So it's always good when you take a rig like this out and as you're running it, you decide, I need to try harder lines and harder lines and harder lines. You know, the worst thing is getting out with something thinking it's going to do something and then it just struggles. Whereas this, I got out there and I was a little surprised and, you know, kind of had to find some harder lines for it. This right here, I believe I probably could have got this if I had just kind of came from the other angle and turned. And I was trying to get turned here and go back straight up the screen there and just wasn't able to quite do it. But you'll see after I roll this, I was able to just kind of go straight back down it. So this thing really surprised me how capable it was. I got it in the water over and over. No issues if you're not trying to just submerge it. I do submerge it later. You'll see what happens. But I'm thrilled with it. Absolutely thrilled with it. I can't wait to add those gold wheels. I think that's going to look so cool. A little weight in those probably. And go have some fun with it. See what happens, kids. Gotta get back on the right track. Oh, that's cold. Yeah. And I could probably even run these stock tires. Like, they did really good in the wet conditions and stuff. Surprised me. Obviously, I probably want to get out in just some dirt and more dry conditions, see how they do. But pretty dang good for a stock tire, in my opinion. So there's a pretty good size undercut right there. I had to kind of spin up, but you'll see after a few bumps, I was able to finally get up that. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, usually when I would think, okay, it's not going to get this, then all of a sudden it would just pull it like it did right there. And then this line here, I really didn't think I was going to get it. I came at it one time from a little farther, closer this way, didn't get squared up as much as I needed to, and dumped out on it. But look at the side hill. I mean, this thing's rocking pretty far, and it's kind of holding itself. I really feel like, you know, that body being Lexan, that bumper has some good weight to it. The mount, the hinge on the front has some weight, and so it's able to hold this line on this side hill here, which was pretty impressive for me. And, you know, I can only imagine just a little bit of weight in the wheels. But, man, I was thrilled to get this line right here. And it just looks so good doing it. So I didn't mention that this has headlights with tail lights and turn signals. So the lights are on channel 4. You click the switch once, the lights come on. You click it again, you got a high beam with the turn signals. You click it again, you got the high beam with flashers, and then click it again and they're off. It also has the same dip switches as like the FCX Power Wagon. So we have adjustment of our drag brake and free coast and all of that stuff. So that's really nice that that is included. So I did run this on the indoor course some, and I was pretty impressed with the way it was able to get around the tight indoor course, and some of the lines it was able to get up, you know, with this big, huge body. Tight rock lines are a little tougher because it kind of hangs up. Some sliders on this would be really cool to kind of hold the body and, you know, push the truck away from some of those rocks that want to snag the side of the body. But you can see outdoors is just the place to be with this thing. It's so cool. It looks great, and it drives really good. You know, they made the improvements on it, and I'm really thrilled about that. You know, they didn't just throw a new body on the old rig. They made it better, and it's a hit in my book for $120. Like, I feel like it's one a lot of people are going to want to have. You know, for nothing else, it looks so cool. It's just unique, something a little different, and it actually drives good. You know, I'm happy with how it is. I really want to put those gold wheels on there just because I think they look so old school. I think they'll look cool. But other than that, like, I had fun driving this exactly how it is. I don't have to change anything. Maybe I'll try to get a little more wheel speed. Really kind of hate to mess with it because it crawls so well. But, you know, there's room for improvement for sure. There always is. But for straight out of the box, this one was a major hit for me. So this is where I decided, let's figure out these electronics. Are they waterproof or are they water resistant? You know, this gets a little deep here. Really not as deep as I thought it was going to get, but I kind of get hung up and I'm spinning and under power, and this thing just shuts down on me. You can see the lights flash there, and then she's done. So I'm gonna go with water resistant. Obviously, I wouldn't try this if I were you, but FairRc did send me this to test, so I figured let's test it. So I unplugged it, plugged it back in, turned it on. It's working. I don't know how long it'll work, but we're still running. So you guys let me know what you think about this one. I like its style, you know, and they improved the original truck, the better electronics. These axles seem to be really good. I like the portals, give a little more clearance. The turning radius is good. Lots to like about this one, so I'm pretty excited about it. I will put a link in the description. It'll be an affiliate link. If you purchase through there, it just helps out the channel. I appreciate all of you guys. Peace.